What's up, everybody, and welcome to my ranking of the Ghostbusters franchise. We just got Ghostbusters Afterlife a couple of days ago. This is the premiere weekend. I have reviewed all 4 of the movies in depth up to this point, so if you want to check out my more in-depth thoughts for all these films, I'll put cards above each one of their placements so you can check all that out. But we got 4 movies to talk about, 4 very different movies, different levels of quality, different approaches, so this should be a pretty fun ranking, although a lot of you that watch my reviews probably already know what this ranking is going to be. So, starting off with number 4, the bottom of the barrel for the Ghostbusters franchise, in my opinion, although a lot of you did not like the fact that I said this, Ghostbusters 2. Now, this is a movie that as a kid I watched a couple of times, never really got into it, never really became part of my circulation of watches like the first Ghostbusters was. It's been decades since I have seen it. When I rewatched it for my review, I could not have been more bored. To me, this movie is just a lifeless retread of the first film. I appreciate the fact that some of you out there love it just because it's the same tone, the same approach, the same characters as the first movie, but for me, I need more than that. They just go through beat for beat the original movie. They do it all in a way that's not nearly as funny, not as interesting, and certainly not as creative as the first film, so this to me just feels like the laziest movie on this list, and that sucks because any movie that has the original Ghostbusters crew, I would love to put that near the top of this list. Some of the effects work was still good. I liked the whole finale with the Statue of Liberty. I thought that that was a cool little iconic element, if you can call it that, from his second movie, but this is probably not a movie that I'm going to watch again anytime soon. Coming in just above that at number 3 is going to be the 2016 remake Ghostbusters. Now, previous to this review series, I thought this movie was absolute trash. And a lot of that had to do with the fact of the climate that it came out in, where everybody wanted to hate this thing. From the fact that nobody wanted this thing to be remade, to the fact that nobody wanted this to be remade without the original crew, or have any kind of a continuation of the first 2 movies, all the way down to political statements that were made by the director, and then later on, a couple years later, after Ghostbusters Afterlife was announced, we got a couple of the cast that were running their mouth as well. So there was just so much toxicity surrounding this movie that when I saw it in theaters, I just didn't like it at all, and I wanted to not like it, which is rare for me. Rewatching it without all of that cloud, rewatching it just on its own merits, I still don't think it's a good movie, but it's okay. I like the actresses that are portraying the Ghostbusters here. This is not their strongest material at all, and I think that's where the biggest fault of the movie is that it's just not funny, and it feels like everybody was just allowed to write the movie as they went along with ad-libs, and none of the ad-libs really nail it here, which is a shame because these are actresses that certainly should be nailing it all the way through. I like the effects. I had fun with the third act, especially with all the different apparitions out and the kaiju-sized Ghostbusters logo. Beyond that, I mean, it's a movie that, just like Ghostbusters 2, I'm not in any hurry to ever watch again, but I will give it credit where credit's due. This is not as terrible as everybody, including myself, used to make it out to be. It's just okay. Coming in at number 2, and a huge leap from number 3 in quality, and that is Ghostbusters Afterlife, the newest sequel. This movie was a blast. This was such a fun time to go to as a family with my kids. This is a movie that I could see us as a family revisiting numerous times because it really taps into kind of that old school Amblin Entertainment style of family fun. Now, I feel like they went a little bit too far into the realm of family fun for my taste. I would have still liked to have a little bit of that adult humor back, to have a little bit of that comedy style from the first 2 movies, but nonetheless, for what they're going for here, which is reinventing the Ghostbusters franchise for a new generation while paying unbelievable amounts of respect and nostalgia to the original film, they nailed it here. The cast is so good, they're so much fun. I thought that all the effects work was great, which is something that all 4 of these movies have done a good job with. They did a good balance, in my opinion, of having a very heartfelt story to continue the legacy of Ghostbusters, to address and pay respect to the passing of Harold Ramis, but also putting a lot of nostalgia, a lot of winks and nods, and a lot of direct callbacks and continuations from the first film. That's the one thing I think people are going to be a little divisive on. Some people are going to think it's too much nostalgia. Some people are going to think it's perfect amount, and they did such a good job with it. I lean much more heavily into that camp. So I had an absolute blast with this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. And for a sequel to Ghostbusters to finally reach that level of quality again, I'm on cloud nine as a Ghostbusters fan. But of course, number one is the original, and it probably always will be. I mean, you can't really beat a classic like Ghostbusters. This movie was like one of the happiest accidents that ever happened back in the 80s. This was a script that was reworked drastically from what it was originally supposed to be by Dan Aykroyd. They got just the perfect amount of people and the perfect talent of people together, with Harold Ramis coming in to help him with rewrites, with Ivan Reitman, a director that had a passion for a certain direction for this movie to take, to go away from the sci-fi and a little bit more into the goofy paranormal while keeping that SNL style comedy. Of course, Bill Murray, that's probably most people's favorite character in this, just brings that dry, smart-ass wit that he brings to everything. And this movie is just such a great balance of having that adult comedy edge while having a family fun appeal to it, with all of the pop culture elements like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, like Zool, like Slimer. This is just an endlessly rewatchable movie. It's an absolutely timeless classic. To me, it's a perfect film, one of the best comedies ever, and easily number one. So what do you guys think of the Ghostbusters franchise? Are you a fan of all of these movies? Are you a fan of the first one and haven't seen any sequels yet, including the new one that you liked? Or are you more in line with my ranking, where the last couple have not been very good, but this new one is a very bright, shining light of hope for Ghostbusters fans? Let me know your thoughts down below, guys, and we will talk about it. Be sure to like and share and hit that subscribe button. If you're a fan of the Ghostbusters franchise, like I said, I put cards all throughout this video, all of my reviews, but I also have a lot more franchise reviews and a lot more franchise rankings on this channel, and many, many more to come. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button so you do not miss any of that. Thank you guys for watching as always, and remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.